I can see my mod order. Hold on. I'll restart that. What's up, Rusty? How's it going? We don't want booty. Because it conflicts with Tamriel rebuilds.
They have taken you from the Imperial City's prison, first by carriage and now by boat. To the east, to Morrowind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen.
Wake up. We're here. Why are you shaking? Are you okay? Wake up. Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name? Well, not even last night's storm could wake you. I heard them say we reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go. Quiet. Here comes the guard.
This is where you get off. Come with me.
Playing a bit of Morrowind.
This is where they want you. Head down to the dock and I'll show you to the census office.
You finally arrived, but our records don't show from where.
What should I be? I was thinking about doing like a mysticism build. Will be a dark elf. Really ugly faces here. Here, scroll the other way. Moving a bit faster. It's fine.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office and they'll finish your release.
Why is Woo Woo crying?
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
Block. Oh, I can't use block if I'm casting spells. Shoot. Give me a sec. Alright, I'm back. Hmm. Let's see. What should I do here? I really want to make like a super tanky build. That like, I don't know. I don't know if that'd be fun though. It's like pure Daedric armor, and then like a crossbow or absorption, health absorption. I think crossbow might be more fun. Hmm. Yeah. Let's go use bows instead, because crossbows, the most powerful crossbow is the dwarven crossbow, dreamer crossbow without mods. Hmm. Okay. Athletics, acrobatics. We need something that is unrelated to our skills that we still kind of want. Yeah, let's go crossbow. So marksman. I do kind of want to have at least one major skill as marksman. So we'll do marksman, acrobatics, athletics, acrobatics. Acrobatics. I want to stay away from magic. Every single time I play Morrowind, I play a magic build. So we're gonna be stealth archer this time. Acrobatics, speech, security, I guess. Specialization, stealth. I want to max these out quickly. Now we're gonna do magic again. We're gonna do, yeah, we gotta do magic. It's too fun not to.
Very good. The letter that preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be?
Atronach, definitely, because we're trying to be as tanky as possible. Pretty sure. Yeah. Atronach. Interesting.
Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct.
If I change my race to Nord, I'm gonna get a shit ton more endurance. But then I have to be Nord. And Nords have like really fat body proportions. I don't know if I want to do that. The other option is Redguard, but I don't really identify as Redguard. Shit, I have to change my face again. I really need like a better face pack. Okay.
Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release fee.
How do I walk again? Is it Z?
Continue through to the next building
Controls.
and talk to Salasgravius.
Always run shift. Wait, what? How do I toggle? Run, Z, or shift, one of them. Ah, there we go, it's shift. That's weird. Let's unbind that. Change that to Z. Okay. Guess I don't level up athletics, which will level up speed, which is something I don't want. First things first, we need money. We need a full suit of like heavy armor. So it sounds like we're gonna go from here to Caldera and pick up some steel armor there. We're not really gonna do alchemy. Alchemy is really just like from making money. Oh yeah, I forgot there's a thing up here. Oh wait, no I don't. It's not up there. Wait, why isn't it up there though? Maybe I have a different house mod installed. Okay.
Any time now.
Hurry this up, will you?
You can go get a free backpack.
Any time now.
And yeah, get some armor. Get the health absorb spell. That's gonna be the main spell I use throughout this entire playthrough. It's gonna be absorb health and just like face tank everything. That's what we're gonna do.
So what do you want?
Alright, we
Quickly,
have
Outlander. I
back.
haven't much time.
Yay! Backpack.
Say something or move on.
I'm waiting. Speak quickly, Outlander, or go away.
We need some mushrooms for Ajira's quest. I always forget to pick those up. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What's this about?
The Mentor's ring could be really good to have as well. I don't know if I'm strong enough to get it though. I actually need like some combat capabilities. Although I might just be able to run in there and take it. I think I have enough mushrooms. Let's take some more, just be sure. Okay, I have money. I can teleport. Go to Balmora.
Where would you like to go?
Oh, I figured out how to make Morrowind compatible with my monitor, HDRI. All I had to do is just set it to windowed mode. Instead of borderless windowed, like just straight up windowed mode.
Go ahead.
Such useless creatures.
Let's go turn the mushrooms first. Get some more disposition.
Its scent is unfamiliar.
Where do we get absorb health? I forget. Sadrith Mora, maybe? I think Sadrith Mora would be a good bet. Or Caldera. Caldera might have absorb health. Oh, I need Soul Trap. Might as well get that. I need to sell something. We need money, and we need armor, and we need absorb health.
Shopping for enchantments.
Shopping for enchantments.
You have something to say to me?
What's this regarding?
Outlander, what do you want?
Yeah, well, she has like some bound armor. I might pick up some of those. I kind of want like real armor though, even though it's heavier.
The scent is new.
I think the full suit of armor isn't over there, the other towers. Let's go get some money from Gorak Manor.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Hurry this up, will you?
Speak quickly.
I wonder if we should go get the bitter cup and then drink it.
Speak quickly.
Speak quickly. These guys don't aggro when you steal their shit.
Coward.
Indeed. Anything else in here?
Say your words.
Not really.
Say your
I think that's all we can do here. We can sell the willpower. I don't need to restore magicka. I think that's it. Yeah. And drop these here. Starting a book collection over there. We don't need the directions to Kaya's Societies. We don't need directions to Balmora. And put it on this paper there. There you go.
Speak quickly. Say your words.
You can go buy some more armor, or you'll be able to find some armor actually. Let's go see if there's any good magical items I can buy. Ring of Aversion, that's always good. Velothi robe, sure. For now. We can get Mark and Recall rings and Vivek, I think. Amulet of Opening. Yeah, sure. It's only 8. It's only 8 gold. Okay. Buy some greaves. And another glove would be nice, but I don't think this guy sells it. Offer is refused. This object is broken. Fuck. I didn't check the durability. He sold me some garbage. It's gonna get repaired, I guess. Honestly, we should just get rid of it. Oh, we can go to the Fighters Guild. Get some free repair kits. We'll just ask this guy to repair. So expensive. I get completely scammed. This guy's selling a full suit of adamantium. Do you have any heavy steel left gauntlet? That's what I need. I think we're good to go because the backpack occupies one of the slots.
Don't stand up.
You know what? I'm just gonna take off this robe because it doesn't look very good. It just looks bad. We'll put it on when we need a heal. Let's go buy some better clothes. There's also a pawnbroker here who might have some good items. Oops. Shadowy ring. Not really something I need. Sanctuary 20 points is pretty good. I'll get it. Go buy. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need to buy clothing. Go to Vivek first. Vivek has the mark and recall rings that I want. No. We'll go to Sadrith Mora first.
Go ahead.
And then we'll go to Vivek. Vivek has Divine Intervention and Almzavi Intervention teleport items. Pick up Absorb health from here, I believe. These places. Up here. Oh, maybe at the temple here. The temple here might actually have Absorb health. I think that's where you get it.
What's this about?
The Imperial Cult. We want so much expensive shit. Well, we want Open Door. We want Night Eye. We want Invisibility. Slow Fall. And I think that's basically it.
I'm listening.
She might have Absorb health. If she doesn't, then the Imperial Cult has. That's it. Drain health. That's not it. Water breathing. There we go. Do we have water walking? We do. Okay, we're going to the Imperial Cult. I believe it's this way? I have a mod that overhauls some of the areas here, so...
Who put that there?
A little bit confusing where everything is. Fighters Guild. Let's go back into the Mages Guild. I think it's below the Mages Guild.
Yes.
That's the Fighters Guild. Where is It's over here. It has to be over here.
Yes. Let's hear it.
Imperial Shrine. Here we go. This guy should have absorb health. Cure poison, burden, fire shield, frost shield. Right? Doesn't he have it? Does he not have it? Oh, he has fortify attribute. That's what he has. Hmm.
Let's hear it.
Is there another spell seller around this corner here? Maybe he has spells? Ah, here we go. Absorb health. Here we go. That's what I need. Divine intervention. Now we don't need those. Restore health. Restore fatigue. Okay. Oops. My mic.
Yes.
Alright. Let's go back to the Mages Guild.
Yes.
Oh no, we need to go pick up some items here.
What's this about?
We'll go pick up some. We'll go pick up Mark and Recall over at the Enchanters. Why is auto-run Q? Auto-run should be Z, and always run should be... I guess it should be shift then. Save it. Okay, Alt Tab. Get some work done while this guy's walking. Let's see. It sounds like I can. So yeah, basically, for this sculpt I made her eyes more squinty, just so it animates better. Not because I'm racist or anything. Are we there yet? Oh, we're walking in a corner. There's a trader here. Let's see if they have anything good. Basically, I want to make 2 rings, an AoE absorb health, and a nothing here, unless we have some filled soul gems. An AoE drain health, AoE absorb health, and a single target absorb health. And we're gonna just face tank everything. That's what we're gonna do. First things first, we gotta walk and get the bitter cup. I don't know. I actually don't know if I should do that. Just because Morrowind is like really easy if you min-max. And I'm kind of already min-maxing. If I drink the bitter cup too, I won't be able to like place it around in my house. Which would be sad. I think it's better to just like look at the model of the bitter cup than to have extra endurance early on. Like if I wanted to do that, I would just play Nord. Play Nord, get the bitter cup, drink that, have max HP in the get-go. So we have Mark, and I think there's a recall ring somewhere. Maybe it's next door. We'll buy this. Yeah, we'll buy a couple of these. Oof, expensive. But I kind of need to buy these. Maybe not the really expensive ones. Like, I don't need Clamphere, I don't need... Yeah, I don't even need these. To be honest, I just need like the really cheap ones. I can buy like a shit ton of petty soul gems too, to level up. Enchantment. Okay, I think we're good. I would alter the price, but I don't want to level up personality just yet. Is this it? No. This guy has the Ring of Recall. He also has an Amulet of Recall, but it's fine. Alright, we're getting out of here. Time to get out of here. We can try enchanting a ring. Quick saving here. I don't want to save scum too much. Not recharge. We gotta make something. Oh, I don't have a ring. I need to go buy some jewelry. Does this guy have any like cheap common rings I can buy? Here we go. Good enough. Let's go make a Ring of Absorb Health on touch. Damn, the chance to 46 isn't great for like 8 points of damage. Oof. How much health do I have anyway? I have 50 health, okay. We should probably just do cast cost. So that means I can cast that 3 times or 10 times. We're just gonna have to make like a really shitty version. Let's go do 2 points of health for like 3 seconds. So I'll restore 6 points of health every time I cast that. copy this in case it doesn't work. First try! Hell yeah. Alright, let's go. Let's go back to Satanin. We're gonna go back to the newbie town. We're gonna level up endurance first. Endurance. Yeah, basically just endurance. I guess endurance, intelligence. Yeah.
Come on, then. Say something or move on.
Rude.
What, Outlander? Why do you disturb me?
I guess we'll set our mark at Caldera. Honestly, Caldera is just the best place to set a mark.
Care to tell me what this is about?
Oh shit, I should have gone to... I can just... yeah, let's go to Caldera. Let's do that. I wasted a bit of gold, but that's fine. Okay.
So what's this regarding?
Sorry, stranger. My time is short, so get on with it.
Where is my custom house? Is it the one with the amulet right here?
Press your luck. You're on your honor.
Because I know I have a custom house mod installed. Is that it right there? Okay, it's not this one. That means it's in Satanin. I have a custom item somewhere in Satanin to pick up. Man, it sure is foggy. Is there anything else I need to buy here? Not really. Oh, we can go to Chaos Societies. I'll give us 200 drakes. Because we look like a noob. It's always helpful.
My time is precious, so make it quick.
I will listen, Outlander, but make it quick.
Alright, 200 gold.
Yes?
We'll do all of that later. I kinda wanna just go exploring on my own. We definitely want to level up endurance. We're gonna go swimming. We're gonna get beat up by fish. We can probably pick up some armoring hammers. What is that? Is that strength? I'm pretty sure that's strength. Yeah. So we can train strength, endurance, and intelligence early on. I'm training strength. I should be jumping everywhere. There we go.
You like to walk a fine line.
Oh wait, we should
So what do you
join.
want?
Join. All right. Guess we can also just like train. But that's kind of boring. And expensive.
Why walk when you can ride?
Okay, we'll just dip our toes in here. Hopefully not die. Dip our toes in the water. Yeah, there we go. There's a slaughterfish. What's up, slaughterfish? Oh shit, that does so much damage. Oh my god. I almost died.
My time is
Okay,
precious,
back
so
in.
make it quick.
Let's go try using absorb health on this guy. If we get hit again. Okay. What's the charge on this? Pretty good. Oh, we should soul trap too. Make sure we're at tip-top shape, and then we need to make a ring of soul trap. Soul Trap is also mysticism, isn't it? Yeah. First try? Oh no. Try that again. Oh my god. There we go. Okay. We're good, we're good. We can, we don't have to save scum. Maybe. I might actually die here. Let's back up a bit. Oh no, I died. Shit. That's some spiky damage. We need to back away as soon as you take a hit. Alright, we got a soul. It would be nice to be able to make a stronger absorb health spell. Are these hostile? No. Okay, well, let's go get some work done. We have our character. It's ready. Ready to go. The eyes here I think are good to go. Let's go and hide internals. Merge and decimate. Let's go delete this. We actually just need the head. So we can hide this. We actually just need the eyes. In fact. Yeah, we just need this portion. Oh wait, no, we do need the head. Wait, hold on. I need to work on the mouth area more. This area is not going to animate very well. Yeah, okay. We need to make this like thinner, maybe. Because right now it's touching the bottom. I subdivide this one more time. It doesn't really need it. We'll save it for later, in case if these polygons show up in the high poly bake, I'll just subdivide and rebake. I'll just divide it now. Might as well. Okay. Same here, I guess. Okay. Okay, so we do need the head, but we don't need the rest of the body. So that'll cut down on decimation calculation time. Marriage. Cool. I'm gonna make some tea. Decimate card. We'll go do that again. In Modo, let's just get rid of the head. takes a bit longer because Moto isn't. It's not designed to handle incredibly high poly meshes. Export. And what do we have here? We have basically like this kind of shape. Mm. I think we want that. I probably should have exported these as like parts instead of like one massive mesh, just for easier selection within Moto. I think that's it. Yeah, we do want everything else here. Get rid of these two here. They're running. I really need to get rid of that mod that makes them run away. It's just permanent combat mode because they never come back. Take his shirt. It's nicer than mine. I think it might be like an open Morrowind setting. It makes the animals behave more realistically. But let's just turn off the music. Oh my god. Hold on, is it actually an open MW setting? I'm gonna check. Miscellaneous, maybe? No. Game mechanics. I'm just gonna look it up. What is my mod list for OpenMW? Creatures RP Purist, is that it? That might be it. Vanilla friendly creatures and undead expansion. What's actually new here? New mechanics, predatorial simulation, AI tweaks. Some creatures can spawn at random scale, and their aggression levels related to their size. A small rat is more likely to flee, while a bigger rat is gonna be more aggressive. Okay, so let's just get rid of this mod. It adds some interesting new animals, but I don't think it's worth it. We're just gonna get rid of it. Let's quick save. Exit. Get rid of creatures RP purist. Yeah. Okay. Oh shit. Wait. Wait, this is the wrong one. Wait, what? Battle Mage, here we go. This is a different character. Okay, yeah, now they're back trying to kill me, which is good. Oh shit, what the fuck? That's not good. I may have to start a new character, a new game. Hold on. I have a solution maybe. What? How come it's not working? If I cast spells on this guy, yeah, okay, so let's go load it here. Hopefully that doesn't just like break my saves, because oh shit, okay. Okay, maybe we can alter the AI mod settings for this mod. Man, what an annoying thing to hold on. Mod settings might be in here. Maybe I just have to disable this entirely. Yeah, we'll try doing that. Setting logins, export to OpenMW. Okay. So that we just like straight up disabled the entire mod. Let's see if that helped. Hopefully. Okay. The rats are gone. Like the weird rats are gone, I think. They're still running away. Okay, well we can kill them. That health 0 kills them. Get rid of all the weird rats. Hopefully the new rats that spawn in don't run away constantly. Because I don't want to make a new character. delete those, and then we'll import the head that's been decimated. That is a big mud crab. I want him to hit me. There we go. Ooh. Almost died. Another mud crab over there. Okay. Yeah, so I was like doing the retopo earlier today, and I was like, man, there's not gonna be any room up here for the island. Oh, we should get rid of this as well. That's gonna be modular. We'll cut that out and it is something new. Hide this. There we go. I believe World of Warcraft did something similar with their character overhauls. So I'm just gonna do this now without having to do an update, character update down the road. there anything else to listen to besides Morrowind music? This is nice and all, but it's also very calming.
Incredibly popular ARPG just broke out the nerf bat, becoming punishingly slow with low levels of reward, sparking a lot of player fury. It appears to be a tale as old as time, and it's one that's now hit Path of Exile 2. And it's hit it real hard. I mean, just look at the Steam score. Basically, the new wave of patches has got grinding gear games in very hot water. Expectations are not meeting reality. Getting players on board is hard, and at its core is attention. What do players actually want from the game right now, given that a big part of their plan has completely failed? And what game does Grinding Gear actually want to make? So to start today, if this is all feeling rather deja vu, well, fair, it really should. Like, Diablo 4's defining moment was its first patch, a massive nerf, basically to every class. Audiences raged, Blizzard ended up walking it back, and in response, the game director Joe Shelley said, ultimately, ARPG games are about power fantasy and about us inviting players to break the game to some extent. So that was all about what the game should be, what players actually want, and expectation setting, and a commitment to keep the possibility of feeling busted powerful just in mind for the future. Now, keep that statement in mind, and we're not doing this just to rag on Diablo, it's to frame what happens next, because Path of Exile players, while they're used to mistakes, they probably didn't think they would have the flavor of Diablo 4 Season 1 to contend with in their game. The whole drama kicked off with PoE 2 Dawn of the Hunt. This was the patch that added in the Huntress class, 3 new ascendancies along with new campaign and endgame characters and events, which all does sound great, but it also kind of changed the core of the game. Basically, players' progression, skills, and damage were all slowed, and I don't just mean slowed as in they made it more grindy, I mean that quite literally. Even basic enemies could now outpace the player's speed and damage. So, simply put, Path of Exile 2 felt entirely different, especially early on in the game. Progress became a chore. Reward reinforcement, the very thing designed to keep people hooked in an ARPG, was cut off, and this was all so bad that the Steam reviews collapsed to 40%, which for a game that had the level of hype and positivity that this one did at launch is, yeah, an absolutely crazy turnaround. I mean, just to quote some reviews, it's literally not Path of Exile and not even an ARPG at all. Another one read, the game reminds me of Blizzard's failures. So that's not what you want to hear from your community.
That's rough.
Grinding Gear knew they needed to respond, and respond they did. By the time you're watching this video, they've already done some responding, right? So triage patches brought down monster health, they revamped Huntress, and a whole bunch of other things. But far more importantly, they went to the community. So game directors Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts took the brunt of public feedback in a fairly challenging 2-hour interview with Zizaran. And this is the kind of interview that was an epic, that just went through so many player problems. And what we basically got from the devs was point-by-point explanations. They just kind of said what their rationale behind things was. But what really stood out to me was this. As an example, the campaign nerf was kind of an accident. Yeah, things kind of just broke. Their goal was to make sure the endgame was still challenging right up to the very end, but what they literally quote as blatant fuck-ups around some mechanic changes got through, and stuff just ended up spiraling more and more and more. So basically, long story short, it's a very complex game, and changes intended to keep endgame challenging just cascaded through the whole game, meaning that it's a 40 out of 100 on Steam, which is brutal, and this is so much of a problem that they're still actively working out what exactly went wrong, both with the game and the overall process. Now, in a sense, right, this is where the story actually is interesting. This is kind of normal early access. It's an early access game, overtly. It's the team trying things out and adjusting accordingly to, I guess, sense out their final vision of the game. But the problem is here it went particularly badly, and there's an entire other thing that they completely got wrong, which basically has enabled all of this to be so very painful. Now, to the devs' credit, they're working quick. Like 10 hours after the interview, they had a whole bunch more changes. So they're trying, and I forgive you for thinking that this is an actual quote from Blizzard, but yeah, just listen to this. Quote, "Now that we have a lot of the nerfs out of the way, we can concentrate on buffing things that aren't performing well." It's funny, that's a quote from Grinding Gear, but it may as well be from Diablo 4 Season 1. It's kind of crazy. So, Grinding Gear are trying to fix this. They're not just reverting everything. What they're trying to do is balance the game that they want to make with the expectations of the audience that they've got. And that's fucking hard. Arrowhead found that out with Helldivers 2. Red Hook found that out even with Darkest Dungeon 1's early access. And as those studios would tell you, this is hard. The problem is that Path of Exile, Grinding Gear, thought they could have their cake and eat it. They absolutely could not. Here's the thing with this genre, right? Joe Shelley described Diablo 4 as a power fantasy because that's what the Diablo people expected. I mean, they'd play Diablo 3, just look at that game. Grinding Gear's struggle is because many of their players want that, but Grinding Gear actually doesn't want only that. Let me explain. The whole thing with PoE 2 was deeper engagement through an almost Souls-like combat style. Not going as far as, say, No Rest for the Wicked, which is another ARPG, but very much looking at my own experience of that game, at early reviews, what shone through is, yeah, an almost Souls-like element to some of this game's like progression and combat model. People kind of love that. And here's literally what the game is supposed to be in the words of their game director, right? It's important you hear this quote because it's really going to matter. So, quote, "A running theme with PoE 2 in general is that the target to hit is smaller, because if we want the combat to be more engaging, that means there's a smaller target for it to feel successful. It put more pressure on the balance to be right, and so I think that's the main issue that we're running into." And it very much is that, right? Getting a ARPG, but with that more precise and intentional combat that's Souls-like inspired, is really hard. And it's almost as if the different genre expectations are literally fighting each other and, like Grinding Gear, are trying to solve an almost impossible problem. And even they know they're not there yet. It's this weird tension between their vision of the game and the messy early access execution. And the thing is, the Grinding Gear do not want PoE to feel like it did when Dawn of the Hunt launched. They don't want it to be slow, punishing, and rewarding, but equally, they don't want people to feel like they can just check out of the gameplay and not actually engage. They would basically say, if you want that, there's PoE 1 and there's Diablo 4. And Quinn did a really good job of breaking this down with a very simple graph. So you can see the graph, right? PoE 1 gives you power quickly and you sort of stay there. As of this patch, PoE 2 gives you power really slowly, and that just means you don't have the desire to continue. But the end goal for PoE 2 is challenge that scales over time, so you consistently feel challenged and engaged. Not too much, not too little, and you constantly feel like you're improving. And getting to that place is the goal of early access. But the problem is that breaks whenever your early access players engage with your game as if it's a released product. But here's the thing for Grinding Gear. It is a released product. It's something that people can buy on Steam. Even though it's supposed to be a free-to-play game, the only way to get access is to buy the damn thing. Now, Grinding Gear tried to be smart. They tried to anticipate this. But the problem is their solution almost immediately fell over, and by now that solution has just been put out of its misery. If you weren't sure about PoE 2, you could always play PoE 1, and they would be in parallel development. That was the plan. It's not what's happening. PoE 1 is not running in parallel. It was planned to, but what happened is Path of Exile 2
it's too much work to maintain two
planned
games.
for. And to summarize an entire video that we never finished making, work on Path of Exile 1 updates was delayed by a resource shift to support the final surge of PoE 2's launch. The thing though is, that wasn't enough. So PoE 2 was then delayed. It still ate up all of those resources, and then the launch blew up. It was so popular that it was all hands
There's
on
only
deck
like
to,
100,
actually have the damn
150
thing
people
work,
at Grinding Gear.
and then to firefight lots of issues. And this meant that
How are
for
they gonna
months,
maintain
Path of
two
Exile 1 just
PoEs?
had no major updates. There was a real just silence, right, coming from Grinding Gear.
Something's gotta
They
give.
did then apologize. They said they were very much overconfident with like their overall planning, and eventually they put together a remix Ascendancy event to tide people over. But that is not normal service, right? It's a bone being thrown to those players, but it's not enough. And the thing is, for players who would probably prefer the experience of Path of Exile 1, they kind of have got two separate gripes. The first gripe is that Path of Exile 2 is not really for them. Like, what Grinding Gear wants to make is literally not for them. They want a faster experience, more like PoE 1, more like Diablo. Second, well, their game is being abandoned for that new game that they also do not want. This is a problem. And understandably, this puts more and more pressure on Path of Exile 2 to deliver an experience that works for all Path of Exile players, including ones who Path of Exile 2 was literally not designed for. And this basically means Grinding Gear have got an absolute bastard of a dilemma. They either eat huge upfront losses trying to further their vision of PoE 2, to actually make the PoE 2 that they want to make. But doing that means, as a business, they suffer, and PoE 1 suffers. Now, what they could do is they could change PoE 2 to better suit the preferences of the audience that they've got. But the problem is that audience is one that by and large really likes PoE 1. PoE 1 and PoE 2 are different games. They are not supposed to be the same. And that would mean that Grinding Gear would have to sacrifice their vision. And it would then mean that the people who loved Path of Exile 2 for what set it apart, well, suddenly they would find, oh dear, the game's no longer for us. This is truly a hard problem. I don't think it's because Grinding Gear were your typical, like, greedy, corpo bunch. No, I think they genuinely were overconfident and made some serious managerial, mistakes. But as it stands, this is a real problem. There is no clear way out that keeps every core stakeholder happy. It's fair to say that they are up shit creek. I do think they have a paddle, so maybe they'll get out. And if you want the story of another group that are very much also up shit creek, well, check out what an ex-Nintendo PR person has called, quote, their worst case nightmare. It's the next video, and a box that will let you view it is about to replace my face. Thanks for watching.
This video twice, and I also wrote a 4,000 word script to go over my experience with Path of Exile 2 and specifically 0.2 Dawn of the Hunt update, and I just wasn't happy with it because it feels like no matter which way I approach this topic, I just end up going into like a disjointed rant of everything that's currently wrong with the game. And that's just to preface the fact that I'm going to do the same thing, but hopefully a little bit more structured and coherent. Path of Exile 2 is a game I really enjoy. I'd even go as far to say as I loved 0.1 of the game. I'd have criticisms, I'd have a lot of negative things to say about the game, specifically the direction and some of the things that just didn't make sense to me from somebody who's looking at it as like a new Path of Exile player, because I wasn't really into Path of Exile 1. So I was approaching the game as, this is Path of Exile 2. It doesn't have to be this, it doesn't have to be that. It is what it is. And there was a lot of problems with what it was, but it was going in the right direction. I played 1,000 hours of this game. 800 of those was on Path of Exile 2 0.1 update, the first launch patch. Within the first 2 months of this game, I had 800 hours playing it. I was mega into the game. Multiple high-level characters, running all the meta builds, 10 plus mirrors worth of currency on multiple characters. Like, I played this game to an insane degree. Trade League, fucking 50 tabs open at all times, just playing the market, running the maps, level 98 character, level 96, 97 character, multiple level 90s, probably like 6 of them or something. I was playing all the best builds, I had all the best stuff.
This guy was trading when he was making videos.
All the hoist guys taking me to the hottest nightclubs, whatever that fucking copy pasta is. And then 0.2 came out, and I'm like, I played so much of the game, do I really want to go back for this new update? Am I going to be burnt out or whatever? And ultimately my brain was like, you enjoyed it so much, it'd be a shame not to. And maybe you'll get another 800 hours of just wasting your life away playing loot simulator game. Little did I know 0.2 was going to be a fucking noticeable downgrade on almost everything that made me enjoy the game. And also, you wouldn't be able to turn your brain off and play 800 hours of loot simulator because there's no fucking loot. So they've basically gone against all the things that was positive with 0.1 and Path of Exile in general, in my opinion, limited opinion, and made 0.2 a worse version of the game and a direction that I can be hopeful because the developers seem to listen and enact change very quickly based on what people are saying. I can have hope in that. But what I can't have hope in is that they saw what everybody said, how everybody played 0.1, and decided this update was it. Like, this update was the thing that they needed to do to make these changes, to alter the game in ways that I cannot conceive in my brain of it being good. And I guess now I'm going to go over some of those things, which again will probably be disjointed. One thing I want to say about 0.2 is the reason it feels like such a downgrade is that for me, in 0.1, somebody who played a lot of the game, it felt like the ultimate ARPG experience, which is, if you conceptualize what is an ARPG, what do you want to do in the game? What I want to do is the power fantasy. I start as a fucking peon, then I get a little bit stronger as I'm going up my build, and then I get to the apex of my build. But then there's a build that's better, and I sacrifice my currency, I trade
Motherfucking
my items away, whatever I'm going to do, to move to the next build, and we go from here to here. Maybe we sacrificed a little bit of damage, maybe we sacrificed mobility, maybe we sacrificed survivability, but in these areas we move into something that's ultimately better. And that better will be something that costs more currency, more gear, more items. And we go from here to here. And then we keep farming, and then eventually we go from here to here to here. And we repeatedly do that. And it felt like in Path of Exile 1 there was enough builds and enough diversity and enough really powerful items and ways to play the game that this was entirely possible. And I did it. I went from playing a Deadeye to playing the Gemlin stats.
I've never played Ranger
build that would literally press spacebar, clear the whole screen of mobs, one-shot bosses, the hardest bosses in the game, and I had mirrors upon mirrors upon mirrors of currency into these characters, and it felt like there was always something to be doing, always another dragon to chase, always another incremental update to another build I could pivot into that would maybe be as fast but more enjoyable or easier or whatever it was going to be. And ultimately for me that's what an ARPG should be, and no ARPG in my experience has done this as good as 0.1. Maybe Path of Exile 1 does, but I didn't play the game so I can't really comment on that. But this was what I hoped the game would continue to do going forward. And like I said, there was dozens and dozens of viable builds in Path of Exile 2 0.1 update that meant that you could do this in many different ways, and it made the economy vibrant, even though obviously it had like a duping problem and things. And then obviously you get into 0.2 and all of this is gone away. Loot feels unfun and unfilling. Endgame mapping is actually fucking just unfun, it's tedious, it's soul destroying compared to 0.1 when you're using that experience of how the game played to how it plays now, even playing the meta build that everybody's playing, because there is no other build that comes close to it. There is no the ceiling of this build is like here compared to the ceiling of other builds in 0.1 that was up here. It seems like there's nowhere to go with this, but this is just the best way to play the game. It seems like they've stripped away the diversity because they're trying to make the game slower, and this is just the one that they didn't hit because it's new. It's the Huntress, the Lightning Spear. They just didn't, have time to nerf this into the floor. And it feels like if this is how they're going to go with the direction of the game, the game's not going to be fun. Like, it's just not. And it seems like this is a problem many people are having, because the core complaints you're going to see from people with the game right now is lack of build diversity, weird decisions with game design, and loot. And if I show you gameplay of me playing the game right now on screen, which you'll probably see some of as we go through this, so it's not just me talking to a fucking camera in a room with furniture everywhere and stuff on the ground, you'll see that I'm literally pressing one button, running around at mega move speed, clearing the whole screen. If I'm having a problem with loot doing this, as somebody with 1,000 hours in the game, if you're not playing this build, your problem is going to be magnified by orders of magnitude. And I'm juicing maps. I'll be recording gameplay today, and I've already run all my juice maps, so you're going to be seeing me probably running through shit maps to do the tedious element of run through shit maps till you get to an area that has 3 towers that overlap, then put all your best quant towers tablets in, and then run the good maps. And this was what you did in the 0.1, but it was like it was almost it was easier to do, and you could have like 1 hour of doing this for then 4 hours of really fulfilling, rewarding mapping. But now you have like an hour of doing that, and you're not even guaranteed to get 1 hour of rewarding mapping back from it. And the rewarding mapping is worse than it was before. So you've increased the tedium, decreased the reward, and overall just made mapping, which was the ultimate turn your brain off and just have fun and farm things and just have cool stuff drop and enjoy your time, which is the only thing the game has to offer, by the way, at this stage. It no longer exists. And you see people like Fubgun quitting the game, who is a guy who will sit there for 12 to 16 hours a day running maps constantly for months at a time. He's like 2 weeks into the update and he's like, fuck this, I'm done. It's the worst it's ever been. And I can't disagree based on what Path of Exile 2 is. Obviously, he's got, you know, a decade of Path of Exile 1 experience or whatever to draw from. And he's saying it's the worst the game's ever been from both versions, basically. And I can't disagree. Again, from my limited experience with this version of the game, it just feels like with every positive change that they've made, it's 2 steps forward, and then somebody's tied their shoelaces together, spun them around, they're dizzy, and they're fucking falling backwards. And it just, if you ignore the fact that a lot of stuff in 0.2 feel like a downgrade, there's still just stuff in the game and things that they do with the game that feel like we're playing different games to what they want us to play, or we're trying to play the game in a way that they don't want us to play. And things like, I know, by the way, they've just allowed us to respec Ascendancy. When I started playing Path of Exile 2, some shit about the game just never will make sense to me, such as Ascendancy being a thing you couldn't respec in the first place. Because the example I'll give you, the analogy, I guess, is if you go to an ice cream parlor, and they advertise the ice cream parlor as having 1,000 different flavors, and you go in and you're like, I want to try all these flavors because that's the selling point of this ice cream parlor. But then they say, oh no, you've actually chosen this flavor now. You can't choose any other until you buy another ticket, go wait in line again. And then when you get to the front, you can choose one other flavor. And that's kind of what the design of the game was, because when 0.1 came out, the cost to respec your normal talent tree was too high, so they nerfed it, which is good. There's more gold in the game now, so respecing your normal talent nodes is not as bad. It's still a little bit shit if you've not got to end game on a character already. But then with Ascendancy, you were locking people into like, oh, the selling point of this game is look at the talent tree, look at all the skills, look at the support gems, look how much gear in the game and the complexity of the gearing in the game, and then how the Ascendancy changes how you're going to play your build. Look at all those things that exist, and then, oh, by the way, if you make a wrong choice, good luck, son, go fucking level again, which most people are not going to do. With something that has that level of complexity, you shouldn't be punished for experimenting. Experimenting should be part of the game. You shouldn't need a third-party app, Path of Building, to go and plan a build out before you play the game. That's fucking stupid, in my opinion. That should exist. You could argue it should be in the game anyway, or supported by the developers in the first place, which is a thing, you know, loot filters should also be supported by the game, which we'll get into, I guess, in a bit. But it just seems like a lot of the things with the game is, they've obviously now allowed us to respec Ascendancy. It's like, why was that not a thing? Some people don't agree, which is fine. Different strokes for different folks and all that. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that for the majority of people that are going to play the game for what it is and not what, you know, they want it to be, I think allowing people to experiment in a game that has so many variations and so much variety is only a positive thing, and limiting that is confusing, to say the least. It seems antithetical to making the game so complex, especially when you consider casual people are more likely to quit when you inconvenience them, and hardcores are going to play anyway. So it seems like a really weird thing to limit people on, but that's gone now. But that kind of like plays into the factor of like, whenever this development team make an update, I read the patch notes, and in my brain I'm like, I even say out loud to people I'm playing the game with, my real life friends, and say, oh, they're now doing this, I wonder if they'll apply that to this next logical conclusion. It's like A, B, C, but they miss B and C, they just do A. And to give you a couple of examples of why this is, how this plays out, for some reason in the game there is arbitrarily just one quest in the whole game that just doesn't make sense in terms of how they give you the reward. And I'm of course talking about the reward from the Venom Crypts. For some reason in this game, they have like in Act 2, you get those 2 fucking charms and you put them in the thing, and you can go back to Act 2 and change which one you're picking in both cruel and normal, which makes sense because obviously as you go through the game, you might want to change the reward you got when you perhaps didn't even know what build you were going to go. And every other reward in the game just gives it you, and you just have it. And then for some reason, there's this one quest called Venom in the Venom Crypts, where it gives you a choice of 3. And unless I've missed it, by the way, which maybe I have, but Google told me I'm not wrong here, and having leveled 9 characters and never seeing the option, if it is, congratulations, you've done a real good job hiding it. But for some reason, this one quest in the whole game, you choose your reward, and then you just have it forever. And when they did the update to like, oh, you can change your ascendancy now, in my brain I was like, oh cool, they're allowing us to change everything about our character now when we want, which is positive. So surely they'll let us change that quest reward that you do twice in Act 3 in normal and then cruel. But they don't, and they didn't. And it just confuses me how you could be like, okay, you can change everything now, other than this one random fucking quest reward that just exists seemingly in a dimension unto itself. And there's a lot of things like that. When they put in the update where they're like, they'll do something that's overwhelmingly positive, and then I'm like, oh, surely they'll apply that to the next thing that just is adjacent to it. And then they don't. For instance, mapping feels unfun because when you go into a map, it's like, kill all the rares, then here's these additional things you have, like Ritual and Breach and Strong Boxes, and maybe there's a boss. And when this game is fun, the fun thing you're doing is playing the fun parts of the game, such as I'm running across the screen killing monsters and picking up loot, and that's why I'm playing this game. And then, whenever the game stops you doing that, the game is antithetical to what it's supposed to be. It's working against itself, and it's working against the fun that you're having. And when you go into a map, and you don't know where the rares are, but you've got to kill them all, and you're planning a route that you can't plan because it's a random layout, with some factor of like certainty, you can kind of, after you've done enough, you can kind of tell where to run around, but not specifically where things are going to be. But what you're trying to do is get from point A to point B as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's how people play these games, because that's the fun element of kill things, get loot, upgrade, kill things, get loot, more efficiently, upgrade, repeat. When you go into a map that's, sometimes some of these maps are dog shit, by the way, they're just poorly designed. Nooks and crannies, running for miles and miles, tiny little corridors, dead ends, things like that. When they then say, okay, we're now putting rares on the map so you can see them, I'm like, surely they'll put the ritual mechanics and the breach and the strong boxes and the boss that you need to complete the map on to show you as well, so you can say, I'm going A, B, C, D, E, F, and then I'm ending there. But they didn't. So now you can see the rares, so you can run around and kill the rares, but until you've completed a certain amount of the map and killed all the rares, you don't know where the boss is. So you still just have times where you're just running around an empty map, backtracking on yourself for one little tiny area that you missed, or looking for like that last ritual, or whatever, or missing stuff if you don't clear the whole map, which there's no mob density in some areas, so you're just running around doing fucking nothing. It just feels like, logically, if they were adding the ability to see all the rares when you zone into the map, you'd also see the other things, because that's the fun stuff you're there to do, but you don't, and they didn't. And the thing that they say is like, oh, we don't want to show you everything, and it's like, why? You know, if the maps were designed better and it was just point A to point B and you just ran in a straight line, I could understand, because then you're just doing the fun thing all the way across. But in a lot of these maps, it's just tedious, and when you add in that there's a bunch of other stuff that's tedious as well, it just feels shit. There's no other way to describe it. You know, we're using colourful language because that's what we do here, maybe harsh language, but it just isn't fun. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe you disagree, but that's just my experience playing it. And this goes into like overwhelmingly very simple and overwhelmingly positive updates that they put in. Like the other day they put in oh, you know, now when you click on a vendor, all the items have got like a border around them that highlights what color the item is, which determines it, you know, denotes its rarity, which is good because then at a visual level you can just look and see like, oh, that's a rare, so I want to look at that. I don't care about looking at the blues, which you should look at the blues, by the way, but at least you can make that decision in your brain. And when I saw it, I was like, that's amazing. That's a great, really simple, but really effectively cool update. It should apply to rituals. Logically, it should. But it doesn't. And there's no discernible reason as to why it doesn't. Like, it's just kind of like the frustrating thing with this development. They do everything very quickly. Great. Fantastic. Applaud. Pat on the back. They do a great job at addressing things relatively quickly and at least saying that they're looking at it, which is good. I love the communication of this development team. I love the mobility of doing things. But a lot of the things that they put in the game just don't follow 1 + 1 = 2. They do the one and then they forget that there's the rest of the equation there. And it's kind of... It's jarring to say the least, because this is like I say, this is stuff that you see and you're like, oh, that's definitely going to be there, because why would it not be? It just makes sense, and then it isn't, and it's kind of odd, which goes hand in hand with obviously if their vision for the game is going to be different from the vision of how a lot of people are playing the game, and they're going to make the game slower and they're going to make the loop worse and they're going to, you know, design the game differently. Maybe, you know, these two things together are making the game more frustrating for me, paying attention to this stuff and noticing than what it is for maybe some other people. But after 1,000 hours, you know, you do tend to want to pay attention to stuff like this because it feels important to know what's coming and how they're addressing things in the game. And if they're addressing it poorly, it's obviously going to make the game less enjoyable for you, especially when right now the game is very tedious and unfun in certain areas. So it feels like with the new mechanics that they've added, and they've not addressed the fact that they've just made everything worse in terms of like end game map mechanics like rituals and stuff like that. Actually, rituals feel a little bit better, but the loot is still pretty ass compared to what you'd expect. You can, I think I've had 2 Audience with a King and I've ran hundreds of maps at this point. I've got multiple above level 90 characters. You still have the absolute tedium of like rolling maps constantly and stuff like that. You still have things in the game that don't make sense, such as why do unidentified items exist? Why is this a thing? You know, we have loot filters, which the game doesn't directly support in-game. Last Epoch has a loot filter. It's a new game by a smaller team with a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the budget of Grinding Gear games. And they have solved these problems seemingly in their game. And it just confuses me as to why this isn't a thing here. Identified items solve so many problems with an already bad loot system in Path of Exile. For instance, in Last Epoch, you can edit a loot filter with a very simple and usable UI in the game, and you can edit the loot filter so that it shows you items based on stats that the items have. And then in this game, you can't because they're unidentified, and then the item drops and you don't know whether it's shit or not. So instead, you just miss loot because you're just only looking for the best bases. And that's solved by just having items dropped identified and allowing you to loot filter by stats. Again, this is something that exists already in a different game. Also, on top of that, why, after like a decade of this game existing, and obviously this is Path of Exile 2, not Path of Exile 1, but it isn't in Path of Exile 1 either, why is there not loot filters inherently supported within the game? Like, why is this not a thing? On top of that, why have they added tiered items in the game that you would want to see, even if you're hiding the bases, because you don't want to see a base version of an item that's a tier 0, that's like, you know, an armor, energy shield, chest piece or something that nobody's even using at the moment. You would want to see a tier 5 one of those, because the chances of it being actually worth something or useful is statistically significantly higher if it's a tier 3 or a tier 4 or a tier 5 than a tier 0. Why can we not filter in the loot filter to see those, to see higher tiers, like have a, if above tier this, then it does show on the filter. Why do these things not exist? Like, it's just something that logically should be there but just isn't. Maybe you can argue, oh, it's early access, but at the same time, you should criticize a product that you paid for what it is, and then hopefully it gets better as they develop and they do add these things, because if not, you know, what are you doing? Just, oh, it'll get better, just, you know, don't talk about it. it just, there's a lot of things in the game that are like that that seem like a very maybe difficult technically to fix and to add into the game, something that would be a little bit longer term, but it feels like they've had a long enough time to do these things, and it seems like antique development and design to have like unidentified items being a barrier to make loot feel worse, in terms of like how you're filtering when you could go into a map and have hundreds of items drop, but there can only, there might be 0 that are useful to you, but you don't know until you fill your inventory up and then go and identify it, and you're like, these are all shit. It's like, sifting through trash is tedious. Like, you wouldn't want to be doing it, would you, to try and find the treasure? You're like that motherfucker whose girlfriend threw away his hard drive that had like a bunch of Bitcoin on it, and he's just dumpster diving for the next 10 years of his life. Are you going to find the Bitcoin? Probably not. That's Path of Exile 2 loot system currently in a nutshell. Like, and obviously with so little currency dropping now, like, maybe it wouldn't feel so bad if I hadn't played 0.1, but I have. And this is a noticeably unfun downgrade, and that seems to be consensus as well. It's not just me feeling this way, many people do. It seems like they've tried to make positive steps towards the mapping endgame, but they've just made it worse, and that should be hard to do because the blueprint was already there. And I'll give some positive, no, not positive criticism. That's not what I'm going to do. I'll give some input on how they could change certain things that would make it less tedious. I've got some notes down here. One of them is currently, the fact is that doing endgame mapping, which is basically the only fun thing to do, that's currently ruined. You go on your atlas and you go from point A to point B to point C to try and set up an area to run juiced maps so that it can feel rewarding. That's bad. That's bad game design. It's doing unfun things to hopefully have fun later in a game where you've already done the unfun things, aka running the campaign fucking twice, and getting through the early levels of maps and getting your gear to the point where your character actually works. What should happen is towers can exist, and maybe towers have some other buff. Maybe they just give you the sight radius and things like that, show you around where you're going. But precursor tablets, either remove them and build in the things that they give into waystones and make waystones more useful in terms of like not only wanting to run a very specific number of prefixes with suffixes ranging from not mattering to bricking the fucking key. Maybe build them into it, or better yet, have your map device have slots that you can put precursor tablets into that put charges on your character that just buff the map that you go to, any map that you go to, with the qualities of what the precursor tablets are. So you can just choose how you path, and it always feels as meaningful as doing the maps that you would want to juice in the first place. So that you're not doing a bunch of setup, you simply get the stuff, use the stuff feels good to use, you have fun. Whereas right now, it's get the stuff, roll the stuff, unroll the stuff, reforge the stuff, have the maps that are shit, sift through the maps that are shit, get the maps that are good, maybe corrupt the maps, maybe delirium the maps, go in, find the tower close by, hope there's a third tower, put the tablets in, fucking do the hokey pokey, shake it all about, maybe have fun. Remove all of that. Let people play the game in the most straightforward way possible with, like, you can have a skill ceiling on knowledge and understanding of the game. There already will be one, because items in this game are confusing as fuck for new people. Builds are confusing as fuck for new people. Remove the friction of simply playing the game. It's not fun, in my opinion. In general, the more you can reduce the tedium of like actually setting up, being able to run maps, the better. Especially if you then make the maps feel rewarding to run. Strongboxes need buffing. Breach needs rebuffing. The Atlas tree needs changing completely. It feels like most of the choices are meaningless, like specking into like shrines or specking into strongboxes or specking into exiles or wisps feels almost negligible. It feels like it's not a choice at all. It's just there and it buffs it a little bit of the time, but it's not even there all the time, so what's the point? It feels bad. The way that they've changed getting like boss points with like corrupt is now no longer guaranteed to give +1 level to the map area, so you have to set up the tower, then you have to find one of the corrupts that has the map area, the plus to map area plus level, and then you have to put the radiator tablet in, then you have to corrupt a tablet to be able to get like the level 81 or the level 82 map to go do it, and it's bugged. By the way, I did an 80. The first time I did an 82, it didn't give me the 2 points for no discernible reason. That's not fun. Also, now it takes even longer to go across the whole map to find corrupt areas to do with 1 tier higher waystone to get your Atlas points. It takes fucking ages to do that for no discernible reason. Most casual people are never even going to fill up their map Atlas for that reason, because they'll have quit this game, this version of the game, before they get to 40 out of 40 points. It wasn't great how you got the points in 0.1, but now it's Dora the Explorer, but there's no fucking fun. The exploration doesn't feel rewarding. And it's the same thing for some of the unique maps. More unique maps is great. Some of them feel shit. Some of them don't even work. Like the one where you go in and there's like a bunch of essences. You kill the boss. The boss doesn't drop the thing. It doesn't say the map's complete, and it just doesn't work, which happens frequently. And let's not talk about trade. Lying. I'm definitely going to talk about trade. Why is trade like this? Actually, first, let's not talk about trade. Let's talk about the currency exchange. Why are skill gems not on the currency exchange? Why are like waystones not on the currency exchange? It just doesn't. Specifically, skill gems and support gems just don't make sense to not be on there. The trade system is bad in this game. It sucks. And also, why can we not trade other people gold? Like, what the fuck is... My friend's like, oh, I need to respec, and he's not got into endgame yet. And I'm like, I have 7 million gold. You know, I've been rolling it. I've been alva gambling. I've been gambling whenever I find a unique strongbox, which is fucking very rarely. 200 hours, I found 3. Spec'd into it, by the way, BT dubs. Why can I not give you some gold so you can respec your character? Don't know. Fuck knows. Who knows why? Maybe there's a good reason. Don't know what that reason would be, considering you can trade everything else in the game. So it can't be like gold farming or anything, like real money trading or anything, because you can already do that, and everybody is. Which is more why Mirror is like 500 divine orbs when you get like 40 in like 12-hour days in 2 weeks of playing the game, doing the most efficient build with the most efficient playground ever. Makes no sense. Game fundamentally is broken from a loot level, from an RMT level. This doesn't make sense. The currency exchange should have all these things on it. It just should. But when you talk about trade, the trade system's bad. If you don't know, you have to go to an alternate website. You have to, you know, I don't even mind the website existing. If you could access it in-game, it would probably solve a lot of the problems. But the fact that you have to actually go to another person's hideout and trade with them, they're going to try and scam you. Happens constantly. A lot of the stuff posted on the trade is by people price fixing, meaning they're listing it lower than what it's actually worth, hoping that other noobs see that that's the lowest listed value, then list it, then they buy it from them. They with the sniper that runs, where you can run an active search, and they're never going to sell it to you. They're simply doing it so that they can fuck noobs over and buy their stuff at a cheaper price. If something has a higher value, whether it's got a different stat or whatever, people will scam you. People will come to your hideout. This is up for 30 divine orbs. Oh, here's 30 alch orbs. It's a shit system. If you want friction to trading, this is not the way you do it. It's just bad. It doesn't feel fun. I've done thousands of trades on this game in the 1,000 hours I played this game, and it's not a good system. Not only that, if you just want to look at it from like a self-preservation angle of like a software development company, your user base is by and large generally not very competent, computer savvy and intelligent. You just have to assume that. It's just the way products work. When you introduce a system, what you're supposed to do is introduce as little friction as possible, as little opportunity for them to fuck it up as possible. So when you tell somebody, oh, to trade in this game, you've got to go to a website, you've got to open your web browser and type in Path of Exile Trade and go to a link and sign in with your credentials, you are immediately introducing a security vulnerability that ultimately you are responsible for, that you will have to deal with. Because when people get hacked, what do? They contact your support system and they bog your support system down with things that you could otherwise completely limit by simply not having this system. Like, the website existing is fine if you could access it in-game. If you just pressed a button in-game that brought it up as a browser window in-game, which is entirely possible to program in, you literally have your shop that does this.
They're never going to do this. I don't know why.
Direct so that you can run it in a browser, so you can run it on a different monitor just have a direct link in game that
This is a very old complaint. Like, it's been this way forever. They're never gonna change it for some reason.
opens
Never.
when you open the trade system, and then sell a trade tab, sell a tab that's like a post box.
I don't know
you
why.
list something, it gets sold,
I
and
don't
it does it
know
automatically, and the stuff goes into your post box. Literally make money from the trade system. You already do with the stash tabs anyway, which you can continue to do to have things listed, but then have the currency go into a post box that you've sold to people. Win-win. Don't make me have to go and trade people that sit there AFK when I'm in their hideout, that don't teleport out of their fucking map and make me wait, that I teleport out of my map and then they just decide they don't want to buy it anymore and go away, that try to scam me, that are price fixing with listings that just make you sit there wasting your time whispering 50 people to try and buy an item you should be able to buy from the fucking currency exchange. Like, these are all things that should be very easy fixes that would make the game feel better with, from what I can tell, minimum effort. Obviously, this is, at this point, just picking it like the small things, because the big things are slowing this game down is not going to make the game feel better. If they want this game to be ARPG Dark Souls, it isn't that. The first version of the game wasn't that. Like, 0.1 wasn't that. It was never going to be. The mobs were too fast, the fucking loot was too scarce, the gameplay was not fun enough. 0.2 is certainly not that. If you took my build, that is the best build in the game, in my opinion, the Fub Gun Lightning Spear build, if you take this build and nerfed it by half, I'd still have the same loot problems, but it would be magnified. I'd still have the same problems with the end game. I'd still have the same problems with the general design of some stuff just being fucking worthless to do and feeling unfun. But I'd just be doing it considerably slower, and I wouldn't be 200 hours into the patch complaint.
I'll be right back.
in, I'd be 50 hours in and quit. Like, and I think a lot of people would be in the same boat, which is why people gravitate towards the most efficient builds, because that's how they want to play the game. And saying, no, you're wrong, we want you to play the game a different way that you don't find fun is fine if you are fine with the game being considerably less popular, which is cool. If that's their vision and that's the game they want it to be, that's okay. I'll come back and play the game when that vision is like fully realized, and maybe it'll be really good, maybe it'll be a great game. But how it's set up right now, you've shown people what they could have had in 0.1, which wasn't perfect, obviously, don't get me wrong. But now 0.2 is just a worse version of that, and it has none of the things you wanted it to have. It just has a bunch more tedium, and it's just got way less diversity, and it's just not fun. It is what it is. That's just the way I see it. And whether you agree or disagree with what I say, whether you know they change things that are things I agree or disagree with, doesn't really matter. What I want is the end result being the game is more enjoyable, whether or not, you know, it's something I've mentioned here, or whether or not it's more in line with their vision for the game. 0.2 is not that. It's not the better version of the game. It's the worst version of the game in my eyes. And in 0.2, any positive change that they've made from 0.1 is just thoroughly, well and truly overshadowed by the blatantly negative ones that they've made. So at this point, I'm probably going to put Path of Exile 2 down, which is a shame because I loved Path of Exile 2's initial launch after the initial hurdles of, you know, no loot and things like that, which, funnily enough, we kind of went back to. But I just can't force myself to play this unfun version of what that was. And I hope this doesn't continue going forward, because the game is good. Like, the fundamental, actual playing the game, the feel of playing the game is great. The complexity is great. The ceiling of what you can do, going from tier to tier to tier, going up, always having something to chase, always having a dragon, you know, always chasing that dragon. That is the best thing about this game. But there's no dragon on this version. There just isn't. The build's capped out. I can make some incremental changes to this build for like another 30 divine orbs, but I won't need to. It'll be like a couple % faster, but the loot will still be shit, and it will still feel unfun to play the end game. So there's just no point, which I never felt that way in 0.1. At no point did I feel like what I was doing was not getting increasingly fun for the time I was spending doing it. Maybe some stuff I've said here people are going to really vehemently disagree with and be like, oh, you're too harsh. But I think after 1,000 hours, 200 in this patch, 800 in the one previously in the first 2 months, I think that's enough time to say I have a pretty firm grasp with how this game's played. I understand most of the systems pretty in depth, and the change is just bad. It just is. They should focus on removing friction from a lot of the systems. There's no reason why there should be shrines that exist where you click them and they're just shit. Like, all your item drops are converted to gold. Why? All your item drops are corrupted. Why? Why do these things exist? Why, when they can see people want to play the game in a certain way and run across the screen real fast, killing things very quickly and get all the loot and have a good time with the core reason people play ARPGs, the power fantasy and exciting things dropping, why are they trying to make that worse when they already had it pretty good in 0.1? They just needed more stuff. Like, they just needed more uniques that are valuable. They just needed more currency that's valuable. They just needed more exciting drops and changing the endgame mechanics so that they're more rewarding, so it's not just Breach Simulator, and obviously removing the tedium from running endgame maps. If they just did those things, the game would just be orders of magnitude better than it currently is. But it's very disheartening that they seem to be going in a completely different direction to that. So, yeah, there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed my ranting about a game that I played way too much of. And I just hope, you know, maybe they address some of these points. I will give them props because, again, this is very negative as a video, which after I played 1,000 hours, you know, I've got my money's worth. I think the game's good. I think it was on track to be one of my favorite games of recent years, probably my favorite ARPG ever. I do want to say that the developers obviously care about the game. I feel bad for the developers that they get so much shit from the community, but at the same time it's kind of expected when you're giving people like a decade of entertainment and expectation, and then the new version of the game is just like, they seemingly just keep making bad decisions with it. And maybe those bad decisions are bad because we want the game to be something that they don't. But at the same time, you can't really change that, right? That if that's what you want, that's what you want. And all you can do is voice your concerns, and some people will agree, some people will disagree, and then you'll just have to wait to see what the developers want to do with it. And I have to hope that the game's going to go in the direction I want it to, because obviously I want to enjoy it. But if it doesn't, and it still turns out to be, you know, the game not for me, but the game that everyone else enjoys and it's great and it's considered the best ARPG, that's fine. That's totally fine with me. I just hope, obviously, that it's one for me as well. But yeah, I do feel bad for the devs because they do seem to communicate a lot. They seem to try to push changes through very quickly. Even if I don't always agree with them, they're clearly putting in a lot of effort. It's just a shame that a lot of the times, like, it's not, it just misses the mark a little bit. Most of the patches they've done since, in fact, all the patches they've done since the game released, other than 0.2 itself, like all the in-between patches that they've done, all the stuff they've done since 0.2 released have all, in my opinion, been completely positive. I don't think there's anything I could point out to be like, oh, that's actually bad, which shows they can do this. It's just like the foundation of 0.2 is just fucking bad, in my opinion. But it does give me hope that maybe going forward it won't be in 0.3, it'll be great. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it can't be worse than 0.2, right? Please. Please. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Check out the links in the video description for my social media. Let me know what you think about 0.2 and Path of Exile 2 in general. I know a lot of Path of Exile 1 fans are kind of like down and out on the game. My friend played 6,000 hours of PoE 1 and he loves PoE 2. He's online right now. He's waiting for me to log in and play. Might have to be the bearer of bad news on that one when I log in and say, yeah, don't think I can force myself anymore with it, with this current patch, but yeah, let me know. And check out GameSups if you want to buy some waifu cups, some waifu merch, some waifu gamer powder, and you can use my code for a discount. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.
A little bit too loud. It's a little bit too loud. Maybe make a more powerful absorb health spell. Or maybe now we don't. Absorb health. Touch. we can try. Cast cost. Ooh, that's pretty expensive. So expensive. Okay, oh, mud crabs only have they have so little charge. God damn. I should not be soul trapping mud crabs. 5 charge. I need Azure Star, that's what I need. Might be too high poly. No, it's fine. Not sure what to do about the rivets though. I probably shouldn't be adding geometry for the rivets. Guys, I think I'm gonna go to sleep. It's been 3-ish hours. I can go a bit longer, but yeah, I should probably go to sleep. I'll get some more done, probably off stream. I mean, for people who've followed my channel for a while, you guys know what retopology looks like. It's just this ad infinitum until I'm done. But yeah, take care. I'll probably like for these eyelashes, these eyelids. I'm gonna repeat this on all of the other races. Because currently they are modeled with their eyes a bit too wide. But yeah, take care. That's all for today.